Welcome back, America. Newt Gingrich. Does Congress not have enormous power over the lower courts? And can't they at least look into this issue?
Sure, they look to have several kinds of power. First of all, though, the House and Senate Judiciary Committees should have two kinds of hearings. One, they should have sort of intellectual hearings, bring in smart people, legal scholars, lay out the case that the Founding Fathers never wanted to have these kind of radical judges seeking to interpose themselves between the elected officials of the American people and their own whacked-out left-wing views. And then second, I think it would be very educational to bring in the weirdest of the judges and have them under oath explain why they made the decision they did, what the source of that decision in the Constitution is, why it's a legitimate decision. And I think these judges would look really bad, and you'd begin to understand that they really represent a radical worldview with no constitutional basis. And then I think the Congress ought to look at two possible steps immediately. One, to either impeach certain judges or abolish their court. And two, to look seriously at the budget of the judicial system in the United States and simply cut it dramatically. The point that Hamilton makes in the Federalist Papers is that the courts in the end cannot win a fight with the elected officials of the legislative and executive branches because the money and the power comes from those two branches. These judges, I think, are in grave danger. This is a test, as Lincoln said at Gettysburg, of whether this system or any system so conceived can long endure. I mean, if the American people are electing the people they want, and they've given the Republicans the House, the Senate, and the White House, if they can't then enforce their views and they can't represent the American people, then our whole system's in trouble. And at the America's New Majority Project, we just did a poll last week. 81% of the American people believe the federal government's corrupt. 81%. This is an enormous danger to the survival of freedom when you have 8 out of every 10 Americans believing that the core system is corrupt. The House and the Senate have an obligation to bring these judges in, to interrogate them, to understand the normal constitutional boundaries, to look at the historic precedent, and then, if necessary, just abolish their courts and cut them out of the game, or cease paying for them, so that they just sit there and they can't do anything. But the current situation, and you were exactly right in your opening, the current situation is intolerable, and it is a direct threat to the system of self-government that is at the core of the American model.
Do you think, Newt Gingrich, that the Chief Justice of the United States, I keep reading his fawning press about he's concerned about the reputation of the court, that it not be considered partisan, and on and on and on. He's a regular reader of Thomas Friedman, his dear friend, and you know that whole social circle in Washington, D.C. that works on these justices and so forth. Do you think he's actually capable of helping to preserve what is truly supposed to be a nonpartisan judiciary? I mean, he took a pass a couple of weeks ago. He took a pass on one of the worst cases I can ever think of, where a local judge orders the President of the United States to make foreign payments. He took a pass. Does he think by taking a pass that this is going to go away?
Look, I think Roberts is about to confront the great crisis of his life. I mean, if he cares for the Supreme Court's respect among the American people, he has to position himself with the American people. If he positions himself with these radical, weird judges, and he ends up being, and this is the same true, frankly, for Coney Barrett, who so far has been a grave disappointment. They both know better. They both understand history. It is intolerable that an elite sitting in judge robes should impose their views on the elected officials of the American people. And if they're not careful, they're going to have a full-blown rebellion, and they're going to have a profound reordering of the courts, and it is going to lead to very dramatic change. Again, go back and look at Jefferson's presidency. Jefferson was serious, and they knew he was serious. The Jeffersonians at one point had a large faction that wanted to abolish the Supreme Court, and Jefferson said, be calm. But, Marshall is basically making a decision in a panic, because he understands that as a Federalist, he is not acceptable to the Jeffersonians, and if they want to, they have the raw power to eliminate the judiciary and start over.
Well, that's in the Constitution. It's in American history. I recommend everybody take a look at the Judiciary Acts of 1801 and 1802. We have the ability, as a people, to insist that judges have respect for the people we elect.
And you'll watch the reaction, America, to Newt and me in this discussion, where they're going to say, look, they want to attack an independent judiciary. That would be the same media that's been attacking Clarence Thomas and Sam Alito and Neil Gorsuch, the same media that wants to destroy the Supreme Court. Don't be fooled by these people. They're part of the ruling class. The media, the Democrat Party, the academics, all the same crowd. They want judicial tyranny. Newt Gingrich, thank you, my friend. We appreciate you very much.
Great.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.